Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Knitty Knotty podcast, episode 27. I am Vanessa, Knitty Witch on Instagram and Knitty-Witch on Ravelry.
And I'm Diane Lancier. I am the Knotted Bag on Ravelry and Instagram and Etsy, of course.
Yay.
And yay. I'm just distracted because of the cat.
I know, my dog is here and he's chewing on something and I'm
But your dog's quiet. Since the last podcast, we lost our cat. Our cat died of cancer. We had to put him down. And then my son really wanted to have another pet. So we have a little shrine to our Chewy. We have his picture framed and we got his ashes and all of that stuff. So, and then we found a kitten. So the kittens go really, really fast. I think a lot of people with COVID are like getting pets that maybe they wouldn't normally. Anyway, yeah. So we got this cute little kitten who's like, he's crazy right now. He's adorable and he's very sweet, but when he plays hard. So that's what he's doing now. So I keep looking, you're so cute. Come and see me. Come here. Oh, he's stalking me now. Yep, he's coming. Yeah, so that's kind of what's new with me. How are you doing? You've got your knitting mojo back.
I got my knitting mojo back. I've been doing nothing but knitting. I've literally been sitting on the couch knitting for days.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Yeah, because you were feeling bad about your loss of knitting mojo.
Yeah, so I'm glad you have it back. For like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Well, you knitted a little bit, but
not enough for it to be significant. Now I'm actually like making progress. Look at me.
So you've got how many advent calendars? You've got a yarn one and a stitch marker one, right?
A yarn one and a stitch marker one. Yarn one I have from Sweet Nesting, and the stitch markers are from Firefly Notes.
Okay. You're going to show them to us?
Yeah, sorry. I must need another cup of coffee because I'm okay.
I love talking to you, but show me some stuff.
Show me your stuff.
I can start with what I'm working on if you want.
Let's show the advent stuff since we're on it.
Okay.
All right.
Also, I only have 2 things to show. I have no finished objects, just like my sweaters that I've been working on.
Yeah, so
and this cat, sorry. Here we go. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you Pixel.
Oh, look
at Pixel. Hi. You crazy kitty. Are you crazy?
He's so cute.
He's going to like bite the wire. Okay, you can get down. Oops. Oopsie. You're stuck. Okay, hang on. We're stuck. We're stuck.
You're just like with the cat. Like, here.
No, I'm holding him properly.
No, I'm just kidding.
Because the wire was stuck around his leg, so that's why I was like, I'm holding him properly though.
Here's the cat.
Weighs like 1.5 pounds or something. He's super, super light. Are you coming back?
Okay, sorry. My squares. They're not in any order.
Yeah.
But I'm really
out of your mini skein, you get 1 block. Do you get anything more than that, or you just have enough to make a square?
Actually, they're 20 grams, so they're enough to make one of these squares. Actually, they're enough to make a few of these squares, to be honest.
Oh, sweet.
So what I've been doing is I thought that, well, here, let me show you these first. I only have a couple more.
Wow, you got a lot done. I guess we are, yeah.
Yeah, we're on day
middle of the month.
14. Yeah, we're on day 14. So there's how many of these do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
You're being crazy. Sorry.
I must be short one because, well, anyways. So they're enough to make more than that. So I thought I was going to be ambitious and I was going to make a square and add a square onto my scrappy blanket every day. This did not go as planned. One of these squares, so I made my scrappy blanket squares bigger so that it would take me less squares to make a blanket.
Right.
So it wouldn't take me as long,
Yeah.
which means that each one of these squares takes me like 2 hours to knit. I don't know why it takes me so long, but it takes me like 2 hours to knit. So I started off doing really good, and I was boom, boom, back and forth. I made a square. I put a square on the blanket, and it got to be too much.
But it's good. Okay, so time-wise, but the amount of yarn you have in a mini skein, you can do a square on each.
And then some.
So that's great. Oh, that's great.
And then some. I still have, so I did a square of each, and I still have
Wow.
like that much left over.
Oh, you can make another crochet square with that.
You can make another crochet square. I was thinking if I ever got around to doing the Hexie Puff blanket like I used to. I have all these random Hexie, look at on the bottom of my back.
Look at my eyes.
Random Hexie Puffs.
Just make more, just do some more crochet squares.
Yeah. So
and finish those 2 blankets.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do a Hexie Puff. Like that's too much. But
yeah, I gave up on the Hexie Puffs like ages ago.
I know, and you know what? I love them so much, but the problem with them is stuffing them. Like I go good and whatever, and then you gotta stuff them, and then you gotta close them, and
you gotta put them all together at the end.
I have no idea how I'm gonna put these together.
So if you look at the Battenberg blanket pattern, the blanket pattern, the one that I'm following, there are instructions for joining them.
Are there instructions? Okay, so I have seen I'm using you as my mirror.
Don't ask me right now what it is, because I don't know. I'm just saying there are instructions.
Well, the thing is, I found, look at me, my little rooster tail.
I like it.
I have found ways to put them together where you take another color and you crochet around and you bind them.
Right.
But then that leaves a border around each one. Like you would.
Yes, this one would have like something in between the
Yeah.
Okay. So apparently loss of words is related to menopause.
Really?
Yeah. So my friend who I do hormone work with, I saw her Saturday and I'm like, I just forget words, like just basic words. And she said, oh, that's the progesterone. Because I haven't been taking my progesterone, just without going into details about my cycle. I haven't been taking my progesterone, and my follow-up with my nurse practitioner should be soon. I just took a blood test because every 6 months she looks at my blood, and apparently low progesterone. Because then I just like blank out and I just forget like normal words. Like
no, that happens.
Just happened. Okay, so I'm trying to find. Anyway, the Blattenberg blanket is has
here's
something in between. So I'm trying to think of the word, like a frame or what, I don't know.
A border.
Border.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want the border.
Oh.
I don't want it. I want all the squares to join like this. And if I find out when I'm done with this that I can't do that, I'm going to be so mad.
No, but think about it, because I don't know how you would do that. How can you possibly do that and not have a yarn that's going to...
All right, so hear me out. This is my inexperience talking. I'm thinking I would put the two together and put the hook through it like this.
Yeah.
And kind of pull through and like merge them together.
Pull what through?
Like pull yarn from one through to the other and crochet them together.
And how are they gonna...
I don't know.
Anchor in.
I don't know how this is gonna work. I just like, I'm thinking that,
The only thing, so Vanessa, here's the only thing I think that would work is if you leave a long tail, and then you're going to have to set up your squares in a way where your tails are on different corners. So then you can use your tail to tie them together.
that'll
Like
work.
if you use this tail and then you have another one, then don't put the tail at the same place, I guess. I don't know. You'll have to figure it out as you go. But if you do this, then you can use this to join these two together.
Yeah, it's too late
So
for that.
if
So
you
now I
place
gotta
your,
figure something else
okay,
out.
well, I don't know what to tell you, my friend.
I know. I'm probably gonna have to have a border. If anything, I'll make it like hot pink or something so that
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like find a yarn that you like and that, would be.
So if anyone out there knows how to join these without a border, please let me know.
Oh,
Because
you've already woven your ends in.
yeah, I've already woven all my ends in.
How do you weave them into a square like that? Where do you weave them in?
Funny that you should ask. Because I just learned this from watching the Knitty Knotty. Well, she doesn't call herself the Knitty Knotty podcast. It's the Love and Stitches podcast with
Right.
Knitty Knotty with Natalie.
Okay.
So she goes through where are we at? I go back through, so it ends here. So I weave the end into like this row.
Yeah.
Top like that. And then I came around the back and kind of drug it down through
Okay.
those little stitches there. So, and we were talking about, I was watching Natalie and she suggested these needle, well, I guess they're needles for weaving and crochet ends, these things.
Oh, right.
So they're made by Susan Bates and they open like that. So it's easier to... It just flew across.
You're having a day.
Where'd it go?
So before we started recording, Vanessa was showing me one of her new makeup palettes, and one of the little makeup rings completely just fell out.
Yeah, so I got the child palette
Yeah.
from ColourPop, and this whole thing just fell out. Now, anyways, so
You do need a coffee.
I do need another coffee. So these little things are actually really handy because they open up like that, so it's easier to thread, and they're easier to get under the crochet stitches than a regular darning needle.
Right.
Like, because of the point, it gets through the tight, because the crochet is so tight. So I would highly suggest these Susan Bates. They come in a pack of like 5, all different sizes. As you can see, I flung the small one across the room. And I ordered mine on Amazon because my Hobby Lobby sold out of them. So they were like $6 or $7 on Amazon, which wasn't bad for Prime shipping. So I would highly suggest those. So cool. Yeah, that's it for my crochet squares.
So yeah, so your advent calendar is fun.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. Where'd the blanket go? On the floor. Where's the...
It's so nice though. It's getting big.
So here's where I'm at. Okay. And I just got an end in my mouth.
Wow.
See, and now the funny thing is,
wait,
what?
Which way are you going on that? That's just
This way. It goes this way.
So now you're gonna start adding your squares like the other way?
So what I do is I add my squares in lengthwise. I haven't hit the length of the blanket that I want yet.
Oh.
I'm making it like maybe like a queen or a king.
Dang.
Yeah.
I've been working on this for a long time.
The 4th year I've been working on it. And the funny thing about it is, so I think I mentioned this before, how I have a Christmas square in for like, that's a Christmas. And then that is the Christmas.
Okay.
And then here's a Christmas. So that's 3 Christmases. This year I'll put my 4th Christmas square in.
Wow.
4 years, because this only comes out at Advent when I get all the mini skeins and I try to keep up with it.
Okay, so just for fun. So that, how many more of that size do you need to have the blanket you want? You need to do that, what, another 5 or 6 times?
Yeah, so I need like another 5 squares, but so I've been adding one to the bottom and then one too. So I'll go, instead of like going across all the way,
Okay.
I'm going
So you're
across.
doing like 3, 3, 3, 3,
Yeah.
3.
Only
So,
because,
but then how many more repeats of the 3 do you need to get the width that you want?
not that much more. I'm almost there. Like it's, you can't see. Like,
You're there for your length, but the width, this is a very narrow blanket right now. No, okay, so that, but then on the other way.
like
Yeah.
well, I'm going this way. So I'm going 3 this way. So I'm going right to
Yeah,
left.
but eventually you've got to start moving up this way.
Once I get the length, I'll start moving up. Once I get
Okay.
the right, or the width. Once I get the right width, what I want, then
So
I'll.
is that the width from left to right on the bed? That's the width, right? Okay, so your length is going to be the longer end.
Yeah.
So it's taken you 4 years for the width, and the length is going to be how many times that?
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. That's
You
why.
need to work on, I think you need to pull it out more than just at Christmas, because it's going to be like you're going to be 85 finishing this thing.
I know. I need to be more mindful about putting squares on it through the
I'm
year.
not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be like,
Do you know what it is? I will tell you what it
if you
is.
want to actually use the
What's
blanket.
taken so long is that every mini skein you have to wind by hand. I mean, you really don't have to. It's actually more work to put it on the Swift. So you wind the mini skeins by hands into a
Yeah.
little ball. That drives me nuts. I
Yeah, but
hate
that's,
doing it.
you hate doing it, but that's not what's taking a lot of time.
Well, it discourages me
Oh,
because I'm like, oh, I want to work on my blanket, but I don't feel like winding yarn right now.
why don't you ask your daughter to do it? Make it a project for her. Crafting.
Yeah, right? So I breed children to be my minions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you working on? That's my advent. I've been trying to keep up. I'm actually
Sorry, I wasn't trying to like pee all over your parade. I just want
No,
to,
you're
I
fine.
just think you should knit on it more often.
I
It's
know I should.
beautiful and so much fun.
This was yesterday's.
That's pretty.
It is really pretty that I needed it up. So I'm behind. And I'm keeping them all in this awesome yarn bowl that I
Cute.
got. A lady
A
never discusses the size of her yarn stash.
That's funny.
Yeah, this is by Lenny Mudd.
Cute.
They're on Instagram. So yeah, all my advents have been living in this little yarn bowl because I don't use yarn bowls. This is my 4th one. I keep buying them, but I don't use them. It's funny.
Yeah.
I'll put it on the couch and I'll throw some skeins in it, and then I'll go back to just knitting out of my project bags. But I had to have it anyway
Yeah.
because it's a cute yarn bowl.
Yeah.
Put stitch markers in it or something.
I've never really used a yarn bowl either. So I'm working on, this sweater is called, bear with me here. Hang on.
No, you're good.
Trying to remember. I think, no, it's not. The rose is the one I did last time. This is called Honey Bop.
Honey Bop?
Yeah, Honey Bop. HONEYBOP, Honey Bop Cardigan by Poison Grrls. And that's Poison Grrls, GRRLS. It's a detailed pattern. It threw me off. I had a moment where I was like, is this right? Is this making sense? I tried messaging her on Ravelry and Instagram, or I put a post in her thing and I never got an answer, which is not, I find that really annoying. And then finally I messaged somebody who had already knitted this, and she answered me.
Cool.
So it is a cardigan. I'm on the second shoulder.
It's so pretty. I can see the sparkle.
Yeah, it's like this bluish gray sparkly yarn. So the body is all done. I did the button band, like, oh, what am I? It's hard to do this in the, okay.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't realize it was a cardigan. I thought it was a pullover.
yeah.
Oh,
So I told you about the button band.
you tell me things and then I forget.
And I don't pay attention. Okay. So then the sleeve is done.
Beautiful.
There's so a little puffy shoulder. I made a few modifications. I added so there's a double increase 3 times. Well, 6 times at the top of the shoulder, and I did it 8 times because I wanted a little bit more poof. And not knowing how it was really being done or constructed, I just did that. So that's been easy fix. So I'm on the second one. And then this is what I was talking to you about yesterday. So I bought 3 of these skeins, and it is Regia soft glitter. And I would like to avoid having to buy another one, because normally I can make a sweater with 3 skeins of yarn. But because I think I made the body bigger than the pattern calls for, and then the sleeves, I didn't do any decreasing and stuff. So I think, and then because of the puffy shoulder, I think it just all around takes more yarn than like a pullover. So I worked on the sleeve until I was about halfway of the weight of it. And then I went to 52 grams, and then I stopped. Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to pause for a minute. So yeah, so I weighed my yarn. I knit until I was at 52 grams. And then I grabbed what I had left from the body. And I think I'm hoping I had 16, not 18 grams, because that makes a difference for the half. And then I was talking to you when I finished my cuff, and I was at 7 grams. I was just under the half, I think. So, but since I used 48 grams of the first ball for the first sleeve, and I have 52 left, I should be okay. I think I'll have like this much left yarn. But I really don't want to have to buy another ball, because it'll just be for like a couple of rows.
Yeah.
So, pray for me.
Yeah, I'm
just
really
gonna
curious to see how this is gonna come out, yarn chicken wise.
I'm just gonna use my powerful, use my energy work, and just be like, yeah, there's enough. So this is the yarn, the Regia soft glitter. At least I'm not worried about being able to get some, but I don't. That sounded dirty, but anyway, I don't think I'll need to, but it's like the worst game of yarn chicken ever. And then that's it. I've been mostly working on that, but I think I've made a lot of progress since the last time I knit it.
Yeah,
and
you have a full sweater since the last time I saw you.
Yeah. And then I've gotten most of the body, not the body, but this is the Blanche sweater that I'm knitting. And this is in DK. And the reason I wanted to try this pattern is it has a square neck. So, and I like a square neck. So this one's knit from the bottom up and then split at the sleeves. And then you knit like the front and the back parts. So this one's nice because it's just round and round and round. But that's done an interesting thing here, because there's increases on the underarm.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a little bit of pooling. but it's not too bad.
No, it's still really pretty.
What was I gonna say? I'm telling you, I'm losing, like, I forgot what I was gonna say.
This is the episode where neither one of us can get our shit together. You know what I wanted to ask you?
Oh, I was gonna say, I think that I love this is just round and round and round, which is great, but I do love knitting fingering weight the very best. So I love how fast thicker yarn knits up,
Mm-hmm.
but I prefer the feeling of knitting fingering weight. And I think maybe it's just the way I knit. It's, I don't know. It's not as heavy on the
Mm-hmm.
hands and the finger, and I don't know, I just find it more pleasant. I like a fingering weight fabric more than the heavier fabrics. So,
Yeah,
but
I see that.
well, this is nice anyway. I'm just like obsessed with finishing this now, especially since I'm on the sleeve. As soon as I get going, then I'm just like, and so yeah, I told you this. I got we've talked about these little needles, right? Before, and like you, after, Cherie was talking about it like years ago. I had tried a 9-inch for socks and I didn't like it. It hurt my fingers. I was like, so, but for this, the sleeve, I have this like, I think one of those like 60-inch or 100 centimeter needles, and it's all it. I don't mind magic looping. I magic loop everything. It's too long though, and it was so I went and got a 10-inch needle, and this is Addie, and the one of the needles is longer than the other one. See, this one's like this long,
Yeah.
and then this one's this long.
And one of them's bent and one of them's straight, right?
It's not really bent. No.
Okay, because I have 12-inch circulars, and I think that one of the needles is like bent, like one
Oh,
bent, not bent, like
like
broken
curved.
intentionally. Yeah,
Yeah.
like curved intentionally.
No, this one doesn't, but there's one needle is bigger than the other one, so it makes it a lot easier because I knit with this one. This is in
Maybe
my
that's
right
what it
hand.
is. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
But I'm pretty sure the 9-inch ones, they only have the two tiny ones.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes the sleeve knitting so much faster. I can't believe it. It's like when you don't have to stop twice around to like pull your needle through. It's changed my life.
Yeah, well, that's why I use 9-inch circular needles to knit my socks, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let me ask my question because
So,
we're talking
yes,
about sweaters. Do you weave in your ends before or after you block it?
I always weave my ends in before, but because I like the idea of them maybe sort of with
Bonding?
friction of washing that they kind of felt in a bit. But what I do is I always weave through like I make kind of like a snake,
Yeah.
and then I leave space. So I stretch it out to make sure that it's not bunching or something. So it may look like it's a little bit loose. When you're going like when you're snaking like this, it might be a little bit loose, but if I pull on it, it's good. And so that's how I'll wash it and block it. But the thing is, like I was telling you yesterday, sometimes with my sweaters, I don't necessarily wash and block them. If they fit really well, like off the needles, it blocks itself
I
when
always
I put
block
it
my
on.
sweaters, but I can't seem to block anything else.
What?
I always block my sweaters, but I can't seem to block anything else.
What do you mean you can't seem to? You just don't do it?
Yeah, like I just don't like I won't block a shawl even though it needs it.
Right.
But I'll always block a sweater because I like the way it looks. I don't know. But
I
I
think if you did like, or do you have blocking wires?
no.
Oh, I mean, blocking wires are really great for shawls because they give you a really, really nice edge. It's just a pain in the butt to in my opinion, I find it really annoying to have to take the time to thread the wire through the whole edge. But having said that, it gives you such a nice edge, and it makes you need some really, really long wires though for like the edges of shawls. But I think I mean, it's for me, it's the opposite. A shawl, I would always block.
I mean,
Because it changes the dimension of it, especially when you've got lace in it. You've got to open that lace up. And even the carnival one, my pattern that
I
you
have
just
to block
finished,
that one.
it'll make it so much bigger,
Yeah, I definitely have to block them. There's 2 shawls that I need to block. I just haven't done it. But I weave the shit out of my ends on my sweaters. Like I weave back and forth.
Yeah.
But I heard that some people weave in their ends after they block it, and they have reasons for that. So I was curious as to what the reasoning is for that. Like why you, because I think the way you think, and I think I want it to felt a little bit, matte a
I
little bit
think
after I wet
I
it.
have a feeling that people weave and I could be wrong, but I have heard, I feel like I've heard that some people weave in after they've blocked it so that the ends don't pull out when you're blocking it. But that's why I leave some extra room in my weaving in so that when it does block and stretch, it's not pulling on that woven end.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So for the record, we move
And
our ends.
for me, when it's blocked, I want that to be the end of it.
Yeah. So for us, we weave in our ends before we block it. I'd like to hear from people and why they weave them in after. So
yes.
there we go. So
yes, that would be interesting. I would love to know that.
Yeah. So do you have anything finished?
No.
Oh, I have something finished.
For this time, no, I don't.
I do. Just kidding. No, okay, here we go. Back to blocking.
Vanessa, you rocked out a pair of socks between the last episode and this episode, and they're cute AF, and they look like Grinchy little socks. They're so cute.
They are cute. I
love them.
A terrible time knitting these. Not that I had a terrible time. So
I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt for a second. It just reminded me, I have my Christmas hat in the freaking car. Why am I not wearing it?
Oh,
I have remember with Cherie's, yeah,
you should be. Go get it.
Similar it's out in the car.
I'm just kidding.
I have to put boots on just to go outside. No. Anyway, I'm sorry, go on.
No, you're fine. So I'm gonna tell you how I knit my socks, because I finally figured out how I knit it. I had to re-recipe it and everything. So I always use self-striping yarn, sometimes variegated. Variegated is not as fun as self-striping because you don't see the stripes go by as you knit them. So it kind of get lost in the variegation.
Right.
But
instead of lost, if we had titles for our episodes, this one could be Lost in Variegation.
Lost in Variegation.
Instead of Lost in Translation.
So because I knit striping socks, I always use an afterthought heel, and I cut my afterthought heels. I don't use waste yarn, but there's a tutorial for that. Kirby Warby Yarns has one. I love it. I use that one my whole knitting life.
Yes, every time we mention Cherie's name on the podcast, take a drink.
Yeah. So I do toe up, so I will magic loop my toe, and I magic loop them with, so for my socks, I use size. All right, so here's the thing. When you knit with 9-inch circular needles, your gauge loosens. So even though you're knitting with size 0, you're really knitting with size 1.
And would you think that that's because the needles are a little bit more difficult to knit with?
Yes, because they're fiddly. Your gauge, the way that you have to hold the needles, your gauge loosens up a little bit.
Right.
So technically I should use a size 1 needle for the toes and the heels, but
Or
because
we
the
should
toes,
say that happened to you. It might not happen to everybody, but that happened to you.
yeah, that happens
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
So the toes and the heels should be done with the same needle, but I like, because your toes and your heels wear through faster, I like them to be knit tighter.
Okay.
So I go down a needle size, which is size 0. So
I
I
like a
use
tight
size,
toe.
yeah. So I use size 0 for both needles, the toe for the toes to magic loop and for the heels. So when you knit your toe, I start with 10 stitches, and
Okay.
then I do Judy's magic cast on, and I increase to the amount of stitches I need, which is
Right.
64.
Wow,
So
that is that's a 10 stitch toe right there. That's small.
yeah, so you go from,
Every time I've done it, it's been I want to say 16.
you start with 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And then go up to 32, I think, maybe.
yeah, you can start with however many you want. I've always started with 10 for some reason. I don't know why. I probably should start with 16.
It's just
Well,
when
here's
you
the thing.
said that, it sounded like it could have been really like aggressive. Like you can start with however many
You
you
do it
want.
however you
You
want.
do
This
it
is
however
how
you want.
I'm going to do my socks.
Listen, B.
So
Oh my
you
God.
measure, no, however, it doesn't matter. If you start with
Yeah,
16,
yeah, no,
you start
I'm
with
getting
10.
I'm getting caught up in the weeds because yeah, anyway.
So if you start with 16 or 10, it doesn't matter,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you measure your toe. So
Yeah.
like my toe stops here,
Okay.
and that's going to be the same depth of your heel, because your heel and your toe are knit the exact same way.
Oh.
So you measure your foot, which mine is like 9.5 or something. You measure
Right,
your foot,
inches, yeah.
and then you subtract however many this is. So this toe was 1.5. So you subtract 1.5 from your whole length of your foot, and that's where you're going to put your heel in.
And does that automatically sort of remove, because you don't want your sock to be the exact length of your foot. Like socks are usually a little snug,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, when I measure my stitches, my formula is, so I get 8 stitches per inch when I'm knitting with these needles. So I do like the circumference of my foot, and
Mhm.
you multiply it, but then I subtract like 10% to take away, because if you
Right.
knit it the exact, it would be too loose and it would come off.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so I subtract some stitches. So
Nobody
yeah,
likes a loose sock.
no one likes a loose sock.
No.
So your heel is the same as your toe. So you put in your heel however many inches that was. So this is 1.5. So I put in the heel at like whatever 9.5 minus 1.5 is. So I don't do math. And that's
8?
where I mark to put, yeah. So that's where I mark to put my heel.
But then how do you know where to cut into how many stitches you need to pick up?
So you put stitch markers in it. So you pick up half of them.
Half of the half?
Yeah,
Or half of the total?
half of the total. So I have
Okay.
64 stitches. So I picked up 32
Oh, okay.
on each side.
Okay.
Side. So that's how you do it. I hope I explained that right.
I
So
think so, yeah.
that's where I put the heel in. So I put stitch markers. I knit a sock tube, no heel, and I put stitch markers in at the 7, or however, what do we say, 8 inches. So
Yeah.
that's where my heel was going.
8 inches from the toe.
And then I keep going and I knit the top and I do my ribbing and everything.
Wait a
And
minute. 8 inches from the toe or from the end of your toe?
8 inches from the toe,
Okay.
from the actual toe. Good question.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how
Well, that would make sense. Yeah, of course, because then if you had 8 plus your 1.5 toe, then you'd be already at 9.5 and then adding your heel. Okay.
Yeah. So long story short, however long your toe is how long your heel is going to be. And that's where you need to put your heel in, is you need to
And
subtract your,
so when you did your heel, you're knitting it out until you have a 10 stitch, like the tip of your toe.
yeah, I go back to 10 stitches, and you can change that. Like you said, 16. So if 16 works better and that makes a shallower heel,
Yeah.
go with 16 and make a shallower heel. Like if you're knitting this and you started with 10 and you got extra room here, then don't start at 10. start at
I
16.
personally am not a big fan of afterthought heels. I don't like how it fits on my foot.
Hmm. They
Uh,
always fit me fine. I've never had a problem.
yeah, but I don't like it.
Well, now I'm thinking that you're with me starting at 10. Now I'm all like self-conscious about it. I'm like, why didn't I start at
Oh my God, don't be self-conscious. It doesn't matter.
not
I'm
self-conscious,
just
but now
but you're like you're doing your own thing. I follow a pattern. Every time I've knit socks, I've knitted. That's not true because I've tried the afterthought heel.
mm-hmm.
But Wendy Knits
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of like free patterns on her website, and she has one called Toe Up Sock with a Difference.
Mm-hmm. That's kind
And
of the
that's my
recipe.
go-to for, I love how it fits. And I of course like the afterthought heel on self-striping yarn gives you that cuter sock look, but the heel's in my shoe. I don't really care,
So
or
what
I'm
kind
in
of
my
heel do you
house.
like?
Okay.
So what kind of heel do you like?
So in her sock pattern, you do from the toe up, and it's like Judy's Magic Cast On, like you do, and but it says 16 stitches, like 8 on each side. Um, and then the toe, the the way the heel is knitted is it's like a short row heel. So you go to a certain length and then you start doing this sort of short row thing, and then up on the back of the heel it's a ribbed, like knit purl, and that's where you start gathering like your extra stitches, and that's what shapes the heel.
Okay.
I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, I could go get a pair of socks and try to show you, but I like that pattern. It's always fit my foot. Always fit my foot. And then she also on that, and it's just well written out, like I can follow that. And then she also has a sort of template for making your sock from like any size. There's
Yeah.
like a recipe. So I like her stuff.
Well, my toe is actually started with 20 stitches. I say 10, but it's 10 on each needle.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's 20. But
Right.
you made me think that it is a little deep and it is a little much. So I might take away and start with like 14 on each needle.
Yeah, now I'm wondering, Wendy's, let me just check. Um,
But they're done, and that's how I do my socks. But
they're gorgeous. I love it.
I had a really hard time. So I mentioned that. So
What did you have time? What did you have a hard time with?
so I knit one sock and I knit to, I think it was 7.5 inches. I think I'm supposed to knit to like 7.5 inches. When I knit 7.5 inches on the first sock, it took me 72 rows to put the heel in. When I knit the second sock, it took me 62 rows. I'm off by 10 rows, but my gauge is the same on each sock. I'm getting 8 stitches per inch on each sock. One of them has 72 rows, one of them has 60. And the only reason I even noticed was because I'm crazy and I match my stripes.
Right.
I do. I'm a nut and I will make them match. So
Right.
I noticed that I was still knitting and the stripes where I put the heel in on the first sock, I was coming up on them. And I'm like, well, if I knit another 10 rows to 72, it's going to be bigger than the first sock.
Weird.
So both socks are knit using inches and not using rows count.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So I'm
Okay,
gonna have to
sorry. I knew your toe looked deeper than what I'm used to knitting. So I was wrong. I did the same thing as you. I'm just looking up the pattern now. It's cast on a total of 32 stitches, 16 on each needle. That's Wendy Knits's pattern.
Okay. Okay.
And then you increase until you have 64 stitches. So you basically
That's
double
what I
it.
did.
Yeah.
So she's starting with half of her circumference.
Yes.
I wonder why I start with 10. I wonder who taught me to do that. Or 20, not 10, 20.
So sorry. So you ended up putting the heel, you followed the stripe pattern instead of the
Yeah.
row
So when I knit
number.
the second sock, I literally followed the stripes and didn't even count the rows.
Right.
I made sure that each sock just came out exactly the same, and they did. I was like, bam, done, son.
So on the first sock, did you just knit and then you went back and counted the rows, or were you counting as you were knitting? 'Cause that's a lot.
No, I don't count as I knit. I
Okay, so
like I put in a marker so I can count the rows.
yeah.
So I'll just knit, 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 and then when I feel like I'm getting close, I'll count the rows
Okay.
and do it that way. So that's how I knit my toe up socks, and I knit them. So I magic loop the toes and I magic loop the heels. But as soon as I'm done with that toe, I pop in my 9-inch circular and I just knit around and around and around and around all the way to the top of the sock, ribbing and everything on the 9-inch circulars.
So
And
you do your toe on a wet.
I do
Just
it on a 32-inch.
oh, okay. Like a magic loop. Okay.
I magic loop the toe and I magic loop the heel, but I do the rest on the 9 inches. So, yeah. So that was a long explanation, but that's how I
No,
do.
that's okay. They're so adorable. I love them.
Well, now I'm scared to knit another pair of socks because I'm gonna have to pay more attention to them than I like. Like I was hoping I would
Why?
have.
Just knit them the same way. I don't understand. Just knit the
Well, I
same
don't
way.
know if I should knit. I will knit them the same, but I don't know if I should knit 64 rows and put a heel in. I'm gonna have to measure. I was hoping not to have to measure, let me say. I was hoping just to say, yeah, I knit, 64 rows before I put the heel in. So I'm just going to knit 64 rows on all
I
the rest.
don't think you should do that from because your yarns are different. There might be a slight variation in the yarn that means that it's going to change your. I think you did it right. Like do that same thing. You make your one sock. If it fits, then do the other one the same. And if it's
Right, which is why I can't figure out why the two socks came out different.
I don't know. It's 2020. Can you figure anything
Yeah.
out?
But they're done, and
Do they both fit?
yeah, they both fit.
Well, perfect. That's all that matters.
I do think that instead of 64 stitches, I'm going to go down 62.
I think this is a great example of let go of the details.
Yeah. What's so funny? I would have ripped it out. Like old me would
Yeah,
have ripped it out and would have redone it or done whatever. I can't. My OCD was so bad when I first started knitting, and now
right.
I'm like, oh, the stripes don't match, whatever, or oh, I messed up 4 rows down. I'm not fixing that.
Right. I think you have to see this as like a gift that you got the same sock for 10 rows less.
Yeah, right. There we go. That's one way to look at it. But they
Yep.
came out super cute. They're like elf feet socks.
You know me, I'm always going to look at the bright side.
I know. So that's it.
I love those.
Do you want to go into little acquisitions so I could show you your fiber stash?
Yes.
So Diane ordered from Knitty and Color and had it shipped to my house because she comes and visits me, and it's easier just to come and pick up all her stuff than it is to have them shipped.
It also
Time.
saves me a lot on the shipping.
Yeah, then I have it shipped to Canada and pay international shipping every time.
Yeah, and I it really was a question of like with Knitty and Color, she comes up with these gorgeous Christmas colors, and so if you don't buy them, and it was Boxing Day, not Boxing Day, but Black Friday during that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I'm buying American, I try to get it on sale because of I've said this before, the exchange rate. So yeah, it was like a no-brainer, and the color was so beautiful. And actually there was only one left, and I messaged her And I asked her, are you sure you don't have a second braid? And she said, well, just, I'll just dye them up for you. Because I wasn't in a rush. I don't even know when I will be able to go see you because we're not allowed to drive through.
COVID.
So we'll
And
see.
for everyone watching, she will not be visiting me during COVID.
No. I mean, I can't unless we're flying down, but we cannot drive. So I've understood that Americans cannot drive up. We can't come. Canadians can fly into the States though and fly back, but we cannot drive across the border, which makes absolutely no sense to me.
No, it really doesn't.
But yeah.
So here's your
I mean, if I could drive down, it wouldn't be a big deal. But
well, if we could drive to each other, I would have driven to you by now.
Get me out of here. Yeah.
I know.
And I want to go see you because you're south and I know it's cold for you, but it's a lot warmer than it is here. This is why I love going to Maryland in May, because for me, it's like I've been cold for months. And then when I drive down to Maryland, it's usually, it's like April is still cold here. We still get sometimes like a fluke storm or whatever. So in May, when I'm driving and I can actually start physically feeling the heat of the sun when, like when I'm somewhere.
You start to like take your coat off and
you feel that and it's like, yeah, it's I like it. It feels really nice. And then I get to see you, of course, but I mean the sun. So yeah, so that's 2 braids. It should be 2, right?
Yeah, that's 2 braids.
It's so pretty. Like greens and red and purple and yeah, I really like that kind of a Christmassy colors.
I have FOMO.
She'll probably have it again next year.
She will.
Yeah.
I'm working on
I have way more fiber than I am spinning, so but I just couldn't resist that one because of the Christmassy colors.
Yeah. No, it's gorgeous. I love it.
I think I'm going to spin over the holidays. I took time off between Christmas and New Year's, and Seth is off school. So we're going to do a whole lot of nothing. And I want to spin. Yeah. I will move my table with my work computer out of the way and move my spinning wheel closer. I have a small house. So
we're actually thinking of, so I'm such a brat. So like, this is my craft room.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a Cricut and I have all my crafting stuff over here, but I also have my makeup vanity. So I'm sitting at my vanity and all my makeup is over here. This is like my makeup / my craft room.
Yeah.
We never use the dining room, where you walk in, we have a formal dining room. We never use it. Never. So we're going to take the dining room table out of it. Mm-hmm. We're going to take the hutch out of it and we're going to make that a yarn room.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll have my spinning.
Or leave your hutch and put your yarn in the hutch.
I know. I wish I could, but it's got too much stuff in it already.
Right.
But
and you've got a nice basement where you can store your stuff, right?
Yeah,
You've got a huge basement.
So my spinning wheel should be set up there all the time because right now I have to pull it out and then I have to like move my ottoman out of the way.
But if you want to spin while you're watching TV, you're going to have to move it over into the living room anyway. You're not going to go in your dining room and spin while you're not.
Listen, stop killing the dream.
No, I'm not killing the dream. I'm just saying.
That's the plan. So we'll see.
I mean, it's definitely closer to your living room if it's in the dining room so that you can move it back and forth instead of up and down the stairs. I get that.
I have to set it back up again. I took it apart. I didn't take it apart completely, but I took like the flyer and everything off of it. So I have to like set it back up, and it's a matchless, so it's a little heavy, so it doesn't travel well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to move around, which is kind of why I want to have it like stationary somewhere.
Yeah.
And my thought is if I have my spinning wheel ready to go at all times, I could just sit down and spin instead of
I hear you.
pulling it out, putting it, putting the stuff together, moving the couch.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I get it. It makes sense.
So
It should
we'll see.
also be your stitch marker headquarters.
My stitch marker headquarters is in the basement. I have a whole setup down there. You should see.
Oh,
It's actually really nice. It's yeah.
let me
So
get on my TARDIS right now and I'll come and see you.
look at you about the Portuguese knit.
I do my purling Portuguese style. Always.
I know a lot of people have they don't like purling. I don't really have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with purling.
You hold your yarn in your left hand though, right?
True. I am a continental knitter.
I
So
think
don't
that
have
makes a difference.
Yeah, I do knit continental. So yeah. Oh, so let me show you before we go.
This is like very smooth. See, the tension is here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just like in, flick, in, flick, in, flick.
I'm not a flicker. So to me, that's like
My mind always goes, Anyway.
So before we go, let me show you my crochet hook collection.
Yes.
So I have been collecting crochet hooks from the Clay Bean Company or the Clay Bean Co. on Instagram.
Yes.
She puts up a batch of hooks and they sell within a minute. So here are some that I have acquired from her. This is Halloween Unicorn.
Oh, wow. I like that one.
This is a G. So she's got like orange hair.
And what we were saying for the little squares, it's a 3 millimeter, which is, you said a D?
D.
A D.
So this is what I use for my squares right now. This is Jack Skellington.
Oh, I like that one too.
And I just ordered Jack Skellington in the Santa costume from her. So
Right.
shipped it out and I'm going to have Santa. So excited. And then I have Zero from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
There's Zero on there. And then I have, so this one I had to get. It is a raven with roses.
Oh, wow. That is so you.
I know. And it's on this tree branch and it's
gorgeous.
A little hard to see, but yeah, raven and roses. I have this pastel unicorn.
Cute.
Yeah, this one's super cute. I have a plague bearer with a little stitch marker for.
It's really cute, but that's an interesting.
It's for the pandemic. She actually just did a batch of hooks that were dumpster fires.
Yes, I saw those and I thought, who the hell wants to be reminded?
I know. Here's a crystal ball one.
I like that one a lot.
I love this one. This one's a size K. Yeah, so there is that one.
I have a crystal ball. I don't actually see anything in it, but when I used to do like psychic fairs and stuff, I would put it on the table just as a decoration.
So this is for 80s babies. This is a popple. I don't know if anyone remembers popples. They were these little toys that, okay, so they look like that, right? That's what they look like, these little toys. And they had a pouch on their belly. And the pouch, the little animal popped in, like, you know how you fold a sock?
Yeah.
You put the socks together and you pop them into a little thing like that.
Yeah.
That's what the popple would do. The whole animal would turn into a little pouch.
Okay.
So that's why they were called popples. And so here
Never heard of that in my life. Oh my God, that's adorable.
Look at this one. This little purple dragon.
So cute.
And then the last one. So this was one of my favorites. This is Toothless.
Aw.
From How to Train Your Dragon.
So how do you are you slowly collecting like each size, or do you just get whatever you can get your hands on in the one that you want, or like how are you?
I'm collecting a couple sizes of each. So I have a couple F's. Her main sizes, she does D, F, G, H, I, and like sometimes JK.
Okay.
sometimes.
Because I've only been looking at her stuff since you told me about it, so not too long. And so far, the only ones I've seen, there were no Ds. But then the dumpster fire one, I wasn't interested.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in the dumpster fire either.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has, every batch is like different, and it will have different sizes. I think it just depends on like what hooks she gets a hold of.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Because she's just taking regular metal hooks, and I say she's just like it's
Yeah.
not an easy thing. It's just
she's
hard.
not but she's not producing the hooks themselves.
Right.
She's decorating the hooks.
Right. So I guess it's whatever hooks she gets. So
yeah, I mean, if she were like making the hooks from scratch, I think it would be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, and these retail at about like $25 to $30 each.
Okay.
I love them.
Oh my
God. Can't even with these. So.
That's fun.
Yeah. That's all I got. I got nothing. I got nothing but problems.
Stop it.
I gotta find that hopefully that little crochet thing that I flung across the room didn't go down the vent.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure you're good. I'm sure you'll find it. So, no, wait a minute. How did you not show your cardigan you're working on? The heck?
Oh my God. Yeah. So, all right. So we thought we were done. I'm working on my Bayhaven cardigan.
So that's Bay as in B-A-Y, not B-A-E. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, not your Bay. And so I did not think this yarn was going to stripe, but it did. So I'm using Bio Bimbo, and I thought it was going to be variegated a little bit. I don't know why I thought it would be variegated. I had a feeling it was going to stripe because they had a sample in the yarn store.
Right.
It was kind of stripy, and I was like, well, if I knit it, well, the sweater is like 250 something stitches across.
Right.
So I figured it would stretch out the stripes, and I was right. But I thought it would be a little skinnier. This is actually like decently striped.
Right.
And I love it. It's coming out. It's a beach sweater. It's gonna go over my bathing suit in the summer, and it's just really pretty.
Because it's cotton, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to just be for the beach though. I mean, in the summer, if you want something really light.
Yeah, it's a summer for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm calling it my beach cardigan because I like wearing bathing suit dresses because we don't appreciate our post-baby body anymore.
Okay.
So I will wear like a swim dress and then have a sweater over it.
Right.
So that's why I'm knitting this, is to have my own knitted sweater over it.
And then did you want to talk about the yarn challenge, that because of the striping, you were concerned that you can match the stripes and still have enough yarn, right?
Yeah. So each one of these comes like this. And if I want to match the stripes and keep the striping consistent, I have to pull through. I would have to pull through the color repeats and make sure I'm starting a new color repeat when I should.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like when, roll through.
Yeah.
So I'd be losing yardage. And I only bought enough of this that the pattern called for, and then like an extra 200 yards just in case my gauge is off a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't have much extra yarn to work with. So if I start pulling through and trying to match stripes and stuff, I'm going to lose tons of yardage. So I'm just going with it. And to be honest, so far it's worked out.
Yeah. Then your little bits of extra you can use in the ribbing and stuff. You can.
Yeah, and I am on my second ball, I think second or third ball, and you can't even tell where the stripes where I.
Oh no, you did great.
Yeah, so it's been working out so far. It hasn't.
It'll be interesting to see though what the stripes do when you like have to split for the sleeves.
Ooh.
That might freak you out a bit. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm being like a negative ninny today. Like
Mm. Well, that's why I'm calling it
I'm
my
not trying to be negative. I'm just like your stripes are so gorgeous, but what's it gonna do when you split the sleeves?
Well, it's going to be my crazy stripe cardigan. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Crazy stripes.
But that's why too, when you were talking about like the variegated, that's why I'm always looking for a variegated that's like a tight, I don't know if that's that's the right way to say it, but like
Diane likes
short,
the tight.
like short transitions.
Yes. Yes.
So like when I met, you remember when I did my sock arm sweater,
Mm-hmm.
and then I with and I found that gray that had like different grays in it and also speckled. I was looking for that tight variegation, where it's the transitions are so short that it blends really well instead of having these longer stripes and then it gets really affected by the amount of stitch by the stitch count. And you get more pooling is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I'm going
Yeah.
through my head and trying to think of what's gonna happen to the stripes. I don't know. We gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. I just hope you don't get there and be like, I'm out.
Yeah, right. So that is actually all I have.
And you have not worked on the other one
I have
since.
hibernated the pomme de pin, and it has
Okay.
nothing to do with the sweater. It's going fine. As well as
You just
Kimberly.
needed a break.
I just needed a break. Yeah, I just needed a break from it. It's very pattern intensive.
Yeah.
No, let me take that back. The pattern is very easy to memorize, but it is a pattern, and you do
Yeah.
have to repeat it to yourself.
Yeah.
So
You have to pay attention.
I have to pay attention to it, and I don't feel like paying attention right now. I feel like being mindless and just zombie knitting. Like miles, I know people hate miles of stockinette. I love it. I
Yeah.
love miles of stockinette. It keeps me occupied, and I feel like I'm accomplishing something, and it's mindless, and I love
Yeah.
it.
You
So
certainly have to be in a different zone. Like for me, anyway, I totally agree with you. Like if I'm working, like these shoulders on this cardigan, you've got to pick up the stitches around the edge. So that has to be correct. And then you have to, like, I'm doing the short row sleeve cap now, or shoulder cap, or whatever it's called. So right now I'm on a back and forth short row and I know what I'm doing, but this is definitely not a weekday evening thing. It's sitting
yeah,
down on the weekend for a few hours and hammering this out. So that's why I think so many of us have many projects on the go, because you need to switch, and sometimes you want something that's easier, and sometimes you want it to be portable, and
hmm
like this is not portable anymore. That's why I used to knit socks, just to have like an easy project that was portable.
I thought about casting on another pair of socks, but I think that next time I do a pair of socks, I'm torn. I'm tossing up between trying them two at a time toe up.
I was gonna suggest, why don't you make that your next sort of just challenge for yourself,
Kind of,
or like that the next time you do a pair of socks, you do them toe up like two at a time.
yep. So that's what
I would be willing to
try it with me.
perhaps, yes.
All right. We'll do that. We'll do it after Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, because let me look through my, because now that I do so many things with self-striping that's not socks, I've got to find a yarn in my stash that I will sacrifice to the socks.
You don't have self-striping?
Oh, no, I have a lot of self-striping. What I'm saying is I want to find a skein
You got a
that I
sack.
don't want to save for like a garment.
Yeah, but you have self-striping. Do you use them for your garments?
Well, yeah, like this, like the
Soccer.
sock arm sweater, like the carnival shawl, like the hat that I created.
Because I have like in So Wendy, no, it wasn't Wendy. It's either Wendy or the yarn harlot. One of those two. Stash, sock yarn does not count as stash. Sock yarn is free. So I have so much stock yarn.
Girl, I've seen your collection. It's impressive.
I know. I have to knit through it, and we'll see.
Yeah, so I will. Okay, so let's say we will do that over the holidays. Maybe like one morning over the holidays we can sit together.
Okay.
And like figure it out. And then between now and then I will find the yarn to do. Okay. See, I've said this before, but the reason that I don't really knit socks right now is because I'm in compression socks. So I don't wear them. I only wear them at night to sleep. So I have 2 pairs. All of my other socks have like worn down because I used to wear them all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a mender. Like I don't know how to mend it. And sometimes it's like a big surface. It's like the whole foot, like the bottom of the heel. So then I just throw them out.
I need to learn too, because I was thinking about that. I was like, what happens if I get a hole in one of my socks? Like I don't have yarn for it anymore. Like the yarn, I've used up all the extra yarn and stuff. So like, what do I do?
Well, and for me, if I actually knew how to do it, I wouldn't care if it matched or not because it's the bottom of the foot. But I know that you care about everything matching.
Who does know how to do it? Cherie, take a shot.
I wanted to show you something. Let me see if I can. Okay. So I found buttons for my cardigan. I don't have them yet. But let me see if I can pull them up on my phone and show you. Why isn't this?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, maybe. I'm just trying to pull it up from my email that they were sent. And now I don't know.
When are they supposed to come in?
I'm not sure. They're coming from the States, so things take weeks. Oh, here we go. Let me see.
Oh, wow.
Cute, right?
Yes. Those are pretty.
I hope they fit. So the pattern calls for like 5/8 or 15 millimeter, 5/8 of an inch or 15 milliliter, 15 or 16 millimeter wide. And I did measure my hole.
The knitting podcast where we are children and cannot get our shit together.
I measured the gap, and it does seem like I would think that would be the right size for the circumference of my buttonhole. So yeah, hopefully the buttons work. And I'm happy I found them because I really wanted to find, just because of the yarn is so pretty and feminine and sparkly, I wanted to have something like that for the buttons. Yeah, like I didn't want like a wooden button or a plastic button. I want something that was sparkly and would kind of go with the style of it. So yeah, excited
I
about
always
that.
find that like I always knit my sweaters first and then choose the buttons after. I don't know if people do it the other way around. Like
that's what I did.
I will knit the entire sweater and then like take it to the store.
I think that makes sense. You want to have like the perfect button for your sweater. I mean, that's the whole point of having a handmade sweater. So
yeah,
you know, remember when you had I can't remember if we went to Maryland or Rhinebeck and you were looking for the yarn that you ended up buying for your pomme de pin. and then you were looking for buttons, or you bought something and then you were like, oh, I have buttons that match that. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Was it the pomme de pin?
Um,
Or it was something like that, and you already had buttons that you had, and you had
was,
purchased buttons like back in 2014 or
yeah,
something
that
at
was my
Rhinebeck.
cardigan. It was the gray one because it was the silver buttons. I had bought them like Rhinebeck like 3 years earlier, and the silver buttons went like perfect. Which, let's
Yes.
hope there's a Rhinebeck this year so I can get more buttons.
And then it was just one of those things where I think it reaffirms that, when you really love something or you get like that feeling, you get it. And then even if it's 3 or 4 years down the road, look at that, it was perfect. And then
Mm-hmm.
had you been looking for them, you probably wouldn't have found them, right? And
Yeah.
I find that happens a lot in the knitting stuff. You're like, wait a minute, oh, but I have this and I have that. And it just, yeah, hoarding is okay.
Yeah, it totally is okay. I'm told hoarding, it's not hoarding, it's collecting.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sure hoarders feel the same way.
I know. Do you have that show on Netflix, Hoarders?
On Netflix? Oh, I just find that it's just gonna cause me more anxiety.
Oh
I
my
don't want to
God.
watch
The
that show.
people like, oh, I didn't know hoarding, I didn't realize the extent of that it's actually like a mental thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I feel bad. But if I had, to be fair, if I hoarded an entire house full of yarn, I would be happy.
My mom keeps her receipts. Like she has receipts from the 1970s. And she doesn't have like boxes and boxes of it, but they're all like very so the last week I went to her house, she wanted to she's been selling lots of stuff on Kijiji, which is really fun. And then she's like, can you help me put the tree up? I would just want to make sure it's fine. And I said, well, yeah, sure. I mean, we have not put that tree up since I lived at home. I'm 48 and I lived at, and I didn't, I mean, when I was in my 20s living at my parents' house, we weren't putting the tree up. I remember the last Christmas I put it up, I was like the only one interested. And it's so much work. I was like, this is, okay, we're not doing this anymore. So it's probably been like a good 30 years since it's been used, right? So we put it up and I'm like, this is exactly how I remember it. The branches are very separated and it's not like the most amazing tree, but at the same time, it's still functional. So we put it together, took a picture, put it back in the box, and she put it up for $25 with the stand and everything. And I think, if somebody can't afford to buy a new tree, this is a great deal. It's
Yeah.
not the perfect tree, but who cares, like once you put ornaments on it and stuff. And she did end up selling it, but all of that to say that she found the receipt for when they originally bought the tree.
Oh my goodness.
And I think she paid like 20 or 25 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, you're not gonna find any receipts here. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway.
On the trash. And then I'm always like, damn it, I need that receipt. I need to return this. And I already trashed it. And then you go dumpster diving like through your kitchen garbage. And
Yeah. I do tend to keep like current receipts because I've been too many times where I'm like, oh shit, I should have kept that. You don't think you'd ever return it, but then something goes wrong. So I try to keep those, but then every now and then I go through my purse and there's all of these receipts at the bottom of the purse because you just kind of like shove it in the purse, right?
I do that too.
So, all right. So I will find a self-striping yarn to make socks, and then we can both work on 2 at a time because I would like to learn because I'd like eventually to do my sleeves that way as well.
Yeah. Well, tell you what, I know somewhere you can get self-striping yarn. Sheree, take
I already have a lot of her stuff in the stash. So,
all right.
yeah. All right. Okay.
I will see you next time.
Yay. Okay.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye. Oh,
Bye.
yeah. And anybody who's watching, hey, Pixel, if
Oh,
you're interested, not if you're interested, but yeah, we are interested in knowing anybody who weaves in your ends after you block. Why? Not because we don't get it, but just like why? We're just curious.
yep.
Yeah.
And if you like us, subscribe Tell your friends.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so bad at that.
We're so bad.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Hit the notification.
Yeah. Yeah. And share with
All right.
your friends. Yes, of course. Okay. All right.
All right. I'll see you later.
Bye,
Bye.
buddy.